Let's bring in the leader of the agency that gave emergency authorization to Pfizer's vaccine Friday night, FDA Commissioner Dr. Stephen Hahn. Dr. Hahn, great to have you with us as always. We have heard again and again those first shots of the vaccine will be administered within 24, 48 hours. So paint us a picture of what we'll see in the coming days.
So FDA does not have a primary responsibility in the allocation and distribution, and we do know that Operation Warp Speed and Health and Human Services and CDC have been working very closely with the states. One thing we did when it was clear that we were going to authorize the vaccine is to communicate with those partners, with those folks in government and outside of government, obviously Pfizer, about our decision so that they could begin the process of distribution. And I think we've seen in the press that the vaccines are rolling out as we speak to get to locations around the country. And then the states will operationalize that and vaccines will be administered. Martha, one key part about this is the letter of authorization and conditions of use that FDA put out really does need to be detailed as much as possible and driven by the data, which is why we took the time to look at that application to make sure we could answer questions from providers and people who receive the vaccine.
The development and manufacture of the Pfizer vaccine has really been truly extraordinary, but this initial batch doesn't come close to covering even the estimated 21 million healthcare workers, 3 million in long-term facilities who are at the top of the list to receive it. So how soon will they be covered?
So I am aware that many in U.S. government are working very closely with Pfizer and other developers to try to get as much out there as possible. We at FDA, what we're doing is we're working in terms of making sure that it's a supply chain for the precursors. And so anything we can do to expedite, we will absolutely do that. But I am aware that it's an all-hands-on-deck approach to get to the numbers of vaccines that, yes, Martha, we're going to need to get to herd immunity.
And so at what point can the general population receive a vaccine? How does that really work? Do people call up Walgreens? Do they call up CVS? Do you call your doctor?
So we're going to see that play out over the next couple of weeks. Obviously, with the supply that we have right now, it's probably likely going to be a very targeted approach based upon the recommendations from the ACIP, that committee that helps with those recommendations and what the states prioritize. So I think I'd be only speculating as how that would happen in individual states, but taking my FDA hat on and as a physician, you can imagine that through hospitals, healthcare providers, et cetera, there'd be the identification of those who have been prioritized based upon the ACIP recommendations as well as the state's prioritization.
And let's talk about those warnings. The UK is advising people with a history of severe allergies not to get the Pfizer vaccine. What do you advise, and is there anything that gives you pause at all?
So, Martha, again, this is why we do a line-by-line assessment of the data. And I don't know if you saw any of the advisory committee public discussion of this, but we did not see within the clinical trial significant allergic reactions among the subjects of the trial. However, that was seen in the UK rollout and distribution. So what we've said is, first of all, taking this very seriously, the safety is very important. We've put in our label that those who have any evidence of severe allergy to any component of this Pfizer BioNTech vaccine should not receive it. However, we also, out of abundance of caution, have asked at the distribution sites be available those medicines that might be necessary to address it. So again, because of the clinical trial data, the risk appears to be low, but we need to be very careful about this and make sure that we administer this appropriately.
And I want to talk a little bit about the skepticism of the vaccine. No matter how many times you talk about it being safe or you've delivered it, despite reassurances about that, many in the U.S. continue to voice skepticism. Recent polling shows between 1/4 and 1/3 of Americans do not want to receive a shot. What kinds of problems do those numbers present?
Martha, that is a significant problem. I mean, if you think about how we get out of this pandemic, we have to continue our mitigation efforts right now. That is so important, mask wearing, et cetera. But the way we see light at the end of the tunnel, the way we get through this is to achieve herd immunity. And that means we need to vaccinate a significant number of people in this country, including those who are hesitant. And we need to address their fears and concerns. We need to roll this out in a way that provides confidence to people. But we also need to be transparent. What do we know? What do we don't know? And our process, this is our contribution to the transparency. We want the data to be known. We wanted that advisory committee to be public because we wanted everyone in America, around the world, frankly, to see what information was available and why we made the judgment we made about the safety and efficacy of the vaccine. And as you can see, the experts on the panel also gave, with their vote, a thumbs up to that authorization process as well. So I think that level of transparency and information helps us.
Dr. Hahn, I want to go back to the approval that you talked about at the beginning. When President Trump tweeted at you last Friday, "Get the damn vaccines out now," I know you have said that you were not threatened with being fired, but did Chief of Staff Mark Meadows call you and say, hurry up?
So we have, from the beginning, Martha, said that the only thing that's going to matter in this is the science and data. And of course, we've been asked to speed this process as much as possible.
So this did happen Friday?
We internally have been saying the same thing.
The president has now said he did push you and it could have been out a week earlier. Is that true?
We do not feel that this could have been out a week earlier. We went through our process. We promised, Martha, the American people, that we would do a thorough review of the application, and that's what we did. We followed our process. Thursday evening, after the VRBAC, after the Vaccine Advisory Committee meeting, our folks made the decision to go forward, but we had to continue our discussions with the sponsor. And so we put out a statement early Friday indicating that we were moving forward with this authorization with the sponsor. So that was early Friday morning, and then we proceeded to do that throughout the day. That is the urgency of the situation that we felt, and we did this on behalf of the American people.
And just very quickly, Mark Meadows said what to you? Is it possible he said you would have to resign?
So, again, I'm not going to discuss individual conversations. We were encouraged to move quickly, and we were already moving quickly, and I feel very confident about the decision we made.
Okay, thanks so much for joining us this morning, Dr. Hahn. Always great to see you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.